Victoria Atkins, your reactions to events overnight in the Middle East?
Well, this was a significant attack by Iran on Israel. It is a huge relief to everyone concerned that the reports from Israel suggest that the injuries and the cost to the local population was as small as it appears to be at the moment, although I'm very conscious this is a moving situation and more details will emerge. But we want to ensure now that this does not escalate. And so our message to everyone is that we have to contain this, we have to work with Israel to ensure that they are supported, but to do so in a way that helps to de-escalate tensions in the region, because this is not what any of us wanted.
I want to come to the issue of de-escalation, but just dealing with last night, what can you tell us about the involvement of British forces?
Well, again, I'm sorry, I'm going to be saying this rather a lot today. This is a live operation or live military situation, and so I am constrained as to the details that I can provide at this moment in time. But British jets, UK jets, were sent to the region as part of what's called Operation Shader, which is an anti-Daesh initiative. What that means is basically bolstering our resources in the region. That happened overnight, but I can't go into further details, I'm afraid, as to what those jets did overnight.
But broadly speaking, this has been an operation which involved us, the Americans, the Jordanians, dealing both with Iran, but also the terrorist threats that infest the region.
Well, we have, of course, have already, over several months now, worked with our international partners to tackle the attacks by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. But apart from that, obviously, we also have longer-standing commitments in the region. As I say, all of our efforts at the moment are on de-escalating this. We do not want this to go any further, because we can all see the human cost to this, and we do not want a miscalculation or an escalation in events, because we know that that will take its toll on.
Okay, one more thing to it. The answer to this may be completely obvious, but what is the official advice now to British travellers and indeed Britons in the region?
That's really important. So anyone who is in the region, please look at the FCDO website. That advice is kept up to date and reviewed constantly. And you'll appreciate there are different pieces of advice for different parts of the region. But in terms of travel to the region, again, please look at the FCDO website. We've been quite clear for a while now as to which areas it is not safe to travel to. And so I'd really urge people to look at the website for the most up-to-date information.
That advice is being reviewed, and do you expect it to change?
Again, I'm in the hands of FCDO and the Foreign Office, the assessments that officials will make at the Foreign Office. It is genuinely kept under constant review, not just as a result of last night's situation, but also in the longer term. So please check the website if you are thinking of travelling into the region.
All right, but there will be a call amongst G7 leaders, the 7 most powerful nations. There will be a meeting of the UN Security Council. But in truth, the next step is in the hands of the Israeli War Cabinet, isn't it? What are we saying to Israel?
Well, the Prime Minister held a COBRA meeting on Friday. He was kept updated throughout yesterday and last night and has had calls already this morning. There is planned to be a G7 leaders call later today, and updates will emerge from that. But we continue to work and to support Israel in its efforts. But again, our message across the region and with our partners is that we must not escalate this. We must contain this and just take time to look at what has happened over the last 12 hours. It's obviously, as I say, a very, very live situation, and to see what more can and should be done. But we do not want to escalate this situation.
This didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, the Iranians are clear that this action is a retaliation for the Israeli attack on their consulate in Damascus. First of all, I don't know if you can tell us this. Did the Israelis consult anybody before they did that?
I'm not privy to any such conversations if they happened. I hope you'll appreciate that. It's a defence matter as well as a national security matter, and so you'll appreciate the circle of knowledge on this is very, very small. But in terms of our relationship with Israel, we have been very consistent in our support for Israel to defend herself after the appalling attacks in October last year. But we have also joined with international partners in saying, actually, the best thing for Israel and for the region is for there to be an immediate humanitarian pause so that we can get hostages out. There are still people being held captive. Get the hostages out, get humanitarian aid into Gaza as quickly as possible. And then we must, if the future of Palestine rests on, we believe, Hamas no longer being in charge of the government, and so there will need to be a change of leadership and for then the two-state solution to be looked at in the longer term.
But the reason I ask you that is that, as you said, we are a staunch ally to Israel. And sometimes your best friends are the people who have to tell you that you're about to make an error. Now, I'm not making a judgment about this, but it is puzzling. Right now, we don't even actually know officially whether the attack on Damascus was an Israeli attack, but most people think that, and the Israelis have not denied it. I wonder what we think the Israelis imagined they were doing and what we have had to say about it, because the Israelis are not unsophisticated. They're extremely smart. They're experienced. They must have known that this would be the outcome. So what do we imagine the reason for the attack on Damascus was?
Well, I hope you'll appreciate I'm very cautious about daring to speculate as to what other international leaders may have been considering when it comes to such delicate matters. But what we do, we are very, very conscious of the fact, as I say, that Israel had this horrendous attack deployed against it in October. People in Israel are suffering. People in Gaza are suffering as well. I think we all acknowledge that there has been a great deal of humanitarian loss and cost to this. And this is why we want this immediate humanitarian pause. But in terms of the future, the Prime Minister will work with other international leaders. We, of course, will also have, there will be many, many conversations ongoing at the moment between our allies, between our international partners, to try to contain this.
The Iranians have been pretty clear this morning that if there is an Israeli retaliation, they are going to come back in kind and more. They've been pretty clear about that. Where are we on this? If the Israelis say we have got to respond because all the reasons that we know before, will we support them?
Again, I hope you'll appreciate, we are having to take this a step at a time because it's a live operation. I can't, with the best will in the world, provide a running commentary on what may happen. We have to take it methodically a step at a time. And there are so many other actors in this on the international stage, of course.
It looks as though you will get your Rwanda bill through this week. When can we expect to see flights taking off?
We want them to take off as quickly as possible, and so...
The days, weeks, months?
We are certainly...
We need to get our cameras ready.
Certainly within weeks. We very much plan to have it within weeks. And what this is about is deterring not just the criminal gangs, but also the message to people further down the line that the UK is not here to be entered illegally, if you like.
OK, that's helpful, actually. It's clearest. Do you have a carrier yet? I mean, the Rwandan air company said it wouldn't carry these people. Who's going to take them?
The Home Office is working on this, and so, believe you me, the Home Office is ready to go.
They haven't got one, have they?
Piece of legislation
They haven't got anybody to take them, have they?
Well, we want to get this piece of legislation through. Yeah, we have seen some real progress in the last year with the reduction in small boat crossings by a third, which is contrary, actually, to the trend we've seen across the European continent. But this is one part of our overall plan to cut illegal migration.
All right. I want to be fair, because there's something that you have to say about today. The smoking legislation, which is going to be passed, I think, this week, will ensure that nobody who is currently under 14 will ever be able to buy fags, right?
Yes, so the plan is that anyone aged 14 at the moment will never be able to buy cigarettes from a shop, and we're beginning the debate this week. The arcane traditions of the House means I won't be able to pass it, sadly, on Tuesday, but we've got more to do.
Is this a new kind of conservatism? Is this bossy Toryism?
I don't think it is.
Why not let people decide whether they want to smoke or not?
No.
I've never smoked myself.
No. So, to me, this is absolutely about the Conservative principle of looking after and protecting future generations. And just as we as Conservatives are fiscally responsible, we do not want to hand on debt repayments that we have built up through the pandemic to future generations, which is why, as well as managing the economy as skillfully as Jeremy and the Prime Minister have, we also want to ensure that we're removing the double taxation on work through our tax cuts that we've brought in this month. But it's addiction. We want to free future generations from the risk of addiction to nicotine.
You know they're going to call you Nanny Atkins, don't you?
Well, Trevor, thank you for that. I think you just put that name in my mind. Thank you. But no, this is about protecting future generations from an addiction to nicotine. No smoker wants to take up smoking. You know, they regret it, and we want to stop children from doing that and taking up this very, very harmful habit.
Victoria Atkins, Health Secretary, thank you very much indeed. I should, of course, apologise to the Health Secretary because I misled her into saying that it was 14 and under. In fact, it is 15 and under in the legislation.